everybody, my name is Shannon and welcome to my channel, Another Yarn. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's Monday morning. It's a good day. It really is. I know. It's the first day of work. You have to be in the office. Yeah, it's a thing. But we're taking Mondays back. Monday does not have to be the dreaded. Monday does not have to be, oh my goodness, just horrible. If this is your first time at my channel, thank you so much for joining me, and know that I talk about yarn and knitting and crocheting and general happiness that yarn, knitting, and crocheting brings into my life. Hopefully it does the same for you. And if you're returning, thank you so much. I appreciate it. It means I'm doing something right. You know, that's why I look at it. Before you guys go, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button and everything so you know when I'm putting out videos. All the YouTube pros tell me that that's really important. So I'll go with the YouTube pros. There you go. So what I like to do on Mondays is reflect on everything that I've done in the past week. What are the projects that I've done? Did I complete goals? Did I even make goals? I mean, let's face it, there's been quite a few weeks I don't even make a goal. It's, did I pick up a hook or a needle? Happy days, right? Doesn't matter how much I got done. You know why? One stitch counts. And you know why one stitch counts? Because one stitch is progress. You don't have to finish a full blanket. You don't have to make a full sweater. You don't have to do all of the things for the craft fair in one day. One stitch counts. You're good enough. That's your progress. So I have goals, right? I have a lot of, we all have goals. There are so many patterns and there's so much yarn, right? And we see it and we get excited and we want to make things. And no matter how fast we are, you know, whether you're fast or you're slow, there's always somebody faster. And it's always easier to buy yarn, or at least faster to buy yarn than it is to work through it, right? It's just, that's just the nature of it. Collecting yarn is one hobby. Using yarn is another hobby. It's true. You know, if you've got the means to do it and you see a sale and you know that it's a one of a kind, or once it's sold, and it's not killing your budget, let's face it, we tend to do that. We tend to collect. So I'm trying to use some of my stuff. I have stuff, right? I'm trying to use some of my stuff. And it's that time of year again. I really have to work on my socks. I make and give away at least 10 pair of socks every year around the Christmas time period. I've got 3 kids. I try to give all my children a pair of Christmas socks. I've been doing that for well over a decade, a lot more. My son had a friend over and he was talking about how he was at his 18th birthday party. And I don't remember this obviously, but I got into his face and I said, don't laugh. This is our tradition and it's important. And I gave my son a pair of socks. I didn't give him a lot of other things, but I gave him a pair of hand knit socks. And that guy wanted a pair of socks or hand knit something ever since. I didn't know that. I just heard this story last Christmas, and guess what? He got a pair of socks and a hat, right? Because that's a certain type of an appreciation. My son's 30. That gives you some concept of time. So I've been doing this well over a decade, and I'm a little behind on my socks. My goal is to do a pair of socks a week or a week and a half. I mean, that's pretty aggressive. The socks, if you didn't know, especially the longer ones, 10,000 plus stitches per sock, no joke. I do 20 rounds on the cuff. These are 64 stitches, 20 rounds on the cuff, and then about 55 to 60 for the leg. Turn for the heel, do the foot, and do the toe. Yes, I have done the math. It is over 10,000 stitches per sock. That takes some time. So let me show you what I've got done. I'm sitting down here so that I don't lose them, right? So here's one of the pairs of socks that I was working on last week. And this is a gorgeous colorway. I mean, this is, my husband has claimed it. He claims most of them. There's a certain color pattern that he likes, or color palette, I should say. And the last pair were very much a German colored sock. And then this, I knew he would love. I told him he'd love this one first. He picked the other ones. I know. And he'll end up getting this. So I'm doing them 2 at a time, right? So they're both just, I just have them on the sock blocker to make it easier to show them off. So 2 at a time. I'm using double points. If you're comfortable using circular needles, go for it. If you're comfortable doing 2 at a time on the long circular needles, that's fabulous. I love my double points. I'm comfortable with my double points. And instead of dealing with the tension issue, because, you know, bouncing from project to project, sometimes I'll have a tension issue. It's a recent thing. It's, well, okay, whatever. I'm doing them 2 at a time, but I'm doing from both ends of the ball and using the double point. So here you can see I've done that. Like I said, this right here is the 20 rounds right here of 2x2 ribbing. It's a very vanilla pattern. And then I've gone down probably 60, I actually do count my rows. So 60 rows like this. And then I'm doing what they call turning the heel. And that's a slipping the stitch and then knitting. I'm trying to get it to where I can see and show you. And then right here, that's where I'm doing the turning portion. And then I'll pick up on that gusset right here. And what that's going to do is it gives that angled portion. And then once that's done, then it's the straightaway of the sock. Here's my second sock. I have done the heel flap right here. That's what that is. That's this part right here. And then I'll do this portion right here and then continue on. So I'm trying to keep both socks around that same portion. That way, if I do have tension issues, they still match because I have tension issues with the same part on both socks. And then I'm not having the second sock syndrome. And what that is you get excited, you finish one sock, and you don't cast on the second sock. You might start another sock, you might start another pattern, you might work on a sweater, anything but that second sock. So I am on a time crunch, self-imposed. I get it. It is totally self-imposed. So this is the way I'm doing it. Once this is done, this will be my 5th pair of socks since August. I am thrilled. That is absolutely fantastic. Totally thrilled with that progress. And then since I have multiple knitting bags, progress since last week, I was about right here last week on both of them. So I have progressed, but I haven't finished. So being from there on both of them, I've done this much, and then, you know, from here on. So real happy with that. But I've got more than one knitting bag, and because I have more than one knitting bag and I'm in different places, I have more than one pair of socks on the needles. So let's look at the other pair. This is the Heritage print, and I didn't get much done on this one. I was about here on this one. Both of them I was about right there. So I didn't get much done on this one, but this one I'm doing really well. I'm almost, I think I'll go a little bit more, but I'm almost to where I want to do that heel flap. And if you can see the stitches here, do you see I've done something different? Like, that's not your plain stockinette. What are you doing here, woman? So I calculated where it's at on that back, and I did a little ribbing right there at the heel to kind of bring it in just a little. As we know, ribbing will bring things in just a tad bit, but adds just that little bit of more ankle hugging. And I did this, I think this is probably going to be my daughter's pair of socks. It's going to be for one of the girls, or at least I'll make it a smaller pair to where the girls can have an option with these. So I'm real happy with that. And what I like about doing the 2 at a time is, yes, I'm there. I'm stopping right here. I'm picking this one up, and then I'll start working on this one again once I get to that same point. So real happy. I've done a lot on this pair also. I'm not real disappointed that I didn't get a pair of socks done. There's a lot of other things that jumped in the way. They did. Sometimes it happens. You can have plans. That's okay. Some things just jump on your needles, jump on your hooks. It's all right. We got this. So those are the 2 pair of socks that I've got going on. I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot right there. That's cool. So that's the socks. And I have also worked on my Mystery Yarn Challenge. Let's see. So if you haven't seen that, or you didn't see the other video, because I did one specifically for this just to show what it is. But look at this. This is a hat. If you're a Harry Potter fan, you might recognize this. This is the Dobby hat, the elf hat, right? So what Dobby the elf did during the movie, I know it's a lot of years, but what he did is he put on multiple hats, right? You know, in 5 or 6 different hats, and hat over hat over hat. So the short rows on this and the angling on this makes it look like multiple different hats. And what I've also done, I am following a pattern on this, kinda. I'll link it down below. You can still get it on Ravelry. I think it's $6 for the printed pattern. I had the magazine, and I think the magazine is let's see, like a 2014 or something like that. You know, 9-10 years old. Yeah, it's been a while. I was surprised too, not gonna lie. So they do the short rows. I've added more patterning here because I can. And I thought that was fun. And then I also added a couple extra short rows because I wanted it more exaggerated. I wanted it to have more of a lean, more of an angle. And the original pattern has 5 different hats. And when I say 5 hats, I really mean it. This is the cast on for the next hat. So if you're not comfortable, or you're not real good at casting on, this is a perfect pattern. Because for making one hat, you're casting on for 5 different hats. Lots of casting on, lots and lots of practice. So I'm going to add this one on, and then at least one more. The pattern has 5. I might stick to 5. I might go more. I don't really know at this point. I have plenty of yarn. I've got more colors that I'm going to add into it. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun. And I love the angles with that. I love the uniqueness that this has to it. So I'm really excited to get onto this and work on this some more. So I got a lot done. You know, again, this is probably why I didn't get all the socks done. It's true. It's definitely why I didn't get all the socks done. There's so much. And if you've seen one of the other things that I've got going on, my little Fun Size Friday, and I try to make a little critter every week. Oh yeah, I did it. Look at that. We got it. This one right here, it looks like a little bottlenose dolphin. It's not. It is the little angelfish, whatever. So this is, where's my book? You might have seen my book already. So absolutely adorable. Making the little critters. How much fun is that? I like these. If you're not into amigurumi, I get it. They can be fiddly. Pattern on these, you're supposed to use fingering weight. Whatever. I love fingering weight yarn. You don't have to. Use whatever you want. Use what's next to you. This is some of the yarn I got in my Mystery Yarn Challenge. It was sitting next to me. The pattern was yellow and white, so I kept it yellow and white, right? It's a light yellow, but I still kept it yellow and white. A lot of fun. Not a difficult pattern. I made it difficult. For the life of me, I don't know why I made it difficult, but I made it difficult. Sometimes we do that. It's just how that works. So these types of things and something really tiny like this is a good instant gratification project. And what I mean by that is pick out something like that that you can get done in a couple hours. They're wonderful in-between projects. Like I'm working on that hat. Well, that's going to take a little while longer, right? It's not done yet. It's casting on 5 different hats. It's a lot of short rows. It's a lot of different things. Make something like this, you got something done. And if you want that dopamine hit, right, that I felt accomplished, these are perfect. I also do a lot of hats, just not necessarily ornate as that one, but hats along that line too, because they're quicker than the sweater. They're quicker than something like that. They're a mindless in between while you're working on socks, which again, 10,000 stitches, that takes some time. It just does, right? So do something that'll give that dopamine hit. Do something fun and exciting. So I got that done. And then, you know, having fun with giving and trying to do the giving back and everything. I've done the American Starfish Association, working on the washcloths. And I got 2 more of these. This particular pattern, absolutely stunning. This one is Tiffany Hansen, and this is what she calls her crunch stitch. It's a 1-row repeat. Gorgeous, absolutely phenomenal. I really enjoyed it. Got both of those done, so I'll be able to send those off. And again, this is another self-imposed goal. Why do I do this? Oh my goodness, why do I do this to myself? Nobody said I have to do 2 a week, but I want to. Nobody's gonna yell at me or whatever if I don't do 2 a week, but I want to. So here you go. So I'm feeling pretty good. I've still maintained it. They're collecting these all the way up until Veterans Day, November the 11th. So got those done. Awesome. And if you've noticed, there's a pink thing missing. You get the dragon tail right there. I did not work on my dragon blanket. I didn't. I worked on everything but the dragon. So the dragon didn't get any love. My goal on the dragon is still to get that done by Halloween with the blanket, and I've got to finish the wings. And I believe I can still do that even though I didn't work on it this week. I think I still have it. That's okay. There's that permission that I have given myself. I've given myself tons of goals and tons of time. It's fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. So instead of working on that, I did something else. If you've seen some of the other videos you saw, I was looking through one of my knitting bags or a bag that I had purchased on my yarn crawl, and I saw some gorgeous wool yarn, right? And I saw this fantastic pattern. I'm like, what? But why has it been sitting there? Why? Why is it just in this dark black bag and it's just there and it's gorgeous? And then I wound it, right? Look, I wound it. See? So I took it from the hanks, right? And I wound it. Do you see this is smaller than this? You know what that means? That means I used some of this. Oh yeah, I did. So it went from just the poor little hanks of yarn, sad and lonely, going, please love me, and showing that to where I got to wind them. And now it's smaller, which means I've used some. It's so exciting. Oh, to remind you, this is what I'm talking about. That pattern right there. And I don't know if you can see that so well. To me, that doesn't show up really super well. Look at that. It is bumblebees. It's the bumblebees. Yes. So you've got the flowery looking round things, right, on part of it, and then the bumblebees, and I'm all for it. I'm like, yes, I must do it. So look at this. That is casting on 120 stitches and doing this basket weave type stitch right there, right, for 24 rounds. Yeah. You know what my next rounds are? I get to add the color. Woo, I'm excited. So now I'm at the point to doing the color work. That's cool. So started another project, you know, because I need another project. I did need another project. Don't scold me. I needed another project. So that's exciting. Look at that. I'm going to do it. And yes, I know I'm a little childish. That's okay. I figure if I continue like this, you know, if I ever have Alzheimer's or something like that and like revert to my childhood, my kids will never know. They'll just go, that's mom. And then they won't institutionalize me. I can stay home because they're like, mom's been like that for years. She's fine. See, it's a plan. You got to think ahead. So that right there is a lot. But that's not all I did this week. It's not. So Boggy Creek is collecting, they're doing blankets. There's a lot of people doing blankets for Boggy Creek Camp. And YouTubers like to taunt each other because that's what we do, and call each other out and good-natured and throw out challenges and to help out and things along like that. So I've got another video out and everything. Hopefully you've had a chance to see that. And I am sending off 17 squares to Lynanne for Nina's Knots. Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize. I'll have that down below. But what she's doing is she's collecting some of the squares. She's in Florida, in Boggy Creek Camp. Wow, that's a tongue twister. Is also in Florida. So she's collecting these, the squares. She's putting them together, and a lot of the Florida YouTubers are going to hand deliver them to the camp. And I think that's fantastic. And giving a lot of people like me an opportunity to contribute without maybe having to make a full blanket to contribute. And then you've got other YouTubers with challenges going on. Oh yeah, because that's just how we work. And it's, if you send Lynanne, oh my gosh, I so apologize. If you send her 17 squares and say that Laura Double Duck Dare challenged you, then Laura will also make another 3 squares. So that's like any monetary donations that you give to somebody and they match. So she's matching squares. Oh, that sounds like fun. And then if you write in your note that you double duck dare them, then she might throw in some more. So I had to get on board. I had to do at least 17. I'll have to throw the links and everything, information into the box down below so you can see that, because I'm obviously tongue twisted. I do apologize. So I had sitting next to me, look at these. Yep, that's that crunch stitch that Tiffany Hansen had. And this is Red Heart Super Saver. These are 5-inch squares because that's what they're personally collecting. If you're making your own blanket, you don't have to stick to 5-inch squares. If you're making it and sending it off, that's fine. Make a blanket by the certain specifications they're looking for and send it off. Not a big deal. But for her to make them and collect them and to sew them together, this is what she's looking for. So this is Red Heart Super Saver. It's what I had next to me. It's a nice textured stitch. She was saying don't have to be granny squares, just a 5x5, number 4 worsted weight acrylic. I have that. So I decided I'd make some other fun stuff. Look at that. I made a bunch of dots. Reminds me of the pop blanket from knitting years and years ago. So made a whole bunch of squares. Yeah. And then I've got all of these with the greens in there. Look at those. So I have been busy, but that's not all. Those are those ones. Let me see, where'd my other one go? Oh, there it is. Oops, fell. But look at this. Oh my gosh. Isn't that adorable? I got that little book that has the the squares, and they were talking about, you know, the boys are kind of underrepresented. I'm like, I've got orange. They're saying orange is underrepresented. I love orange. And the boys are underrepresented. So I'm like, I have to make the boy things, right? Look at that. Isn't that cute? So I got a bunch of those. How many of these? So I have 17 squares total. 3, 6. So I have 7 of these with the dinosaur heads. I didn't do all of them with the dinosaur heads because, well, let's face it, that extra piece, you know, making it and sewing it on, making those and sewing them on, making the eyeballs and sewing them on, those take extra time. They just do. So I have all of those. Those came from, if you're interested, this book, 20 Animal Squares. And I thought it was adorable. So my first time using it. But I got this done, right? So I got all those on there. And I sewed, I thought I did pretty good, right? I sewed in all my ends. I did, because, you know, you're not going to send this to somebody with all your ends hanging out. Look at the back. Isn't that cool? Do you see what I see? Do you see that? I can't send it like that. It looks like he's not happy. It's not supposed to be reversible, but here's the front. And I did a slip stitch around here instead of, you know, like an overstitch or a mattress stitch or whatever. So I slip stitched around the mouth area and placed it where I wanted it to be. So it made a very distinctive line in the back. And then obviously doing the eyeballs, they look pretty much the same. That's just black yarn. I did some French knots, went back and forth, did the best I could. Okay, I'm not an expert at it, did the best I could. So it looks reversible with the very sad monster on the back. You know that these are going to Boggy Creek, where you have sick children that have cancers and other types of illnesses where they can't go to regular camps, right? That was inadvertent. You see that? That's sad. So, yeah. They got smiley faces now. I had to do it. It looks like they've got lipstick or something. What are you gonna do? I can't send them like that. I mean, you got fronts and backs. You can't. That was inadvertent. I don't think they're supposed to be reversible, but by golly, the way I sewed them on, look at the... So I'll have to sew that other one and fix it, you know, and put a mouth on it. But I have 17 squares. I want to get them sent off because on the friend challenge, the YouTube friend challenge, as long as I get them to Lynanne by the 15th of October, Laura will contribute another 3 squares. And I think that's absolutely fantastic. So I want to get these into the mail as soon as possible. If I am aggressive, no. I had 2 of them. And then I added another 5. I'm done? Yeah, I'm done. Okay. But if I do get aggressive, you'll notice all of these are the same. And I could, if I wanted to, turn these into dinosaurs too. But they look great like this. they're a lot of fun. I think they'll add a lot of pop to a lot of the granny squares, the typical granny squares, having the circles like that, having the bright colors and adding those to another blanket. So I'm okay with them being that way. But if I do get ambitious, I might turn those into dinosaurs. I don't want to. I want to move on to the next thing. I have things. This is a lot. I am so shocked when I get in front of you Monday and look at all this, and I go around my room and I collect the things that I have worked on all week long. And I swear to you, every Monday, I'm like, I don't have anything to show. I haven't really done anything. I haven't done enough. This isn't entertaining. And then I start stacking and I start putting everything next to me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, when did that get done? What happened? How did that happen? It shocks me every time. I think that all of you have been so fabulous towards my productivity. It just has. You guys are, whether you realize it or not, you are egging me on to get so much more done and egging me on to find other opportunities to donate, because I've asked you to give me your sources and everything and trying to pull things together, because let's face it, the crafting community is so wonderful and so loving and so caring and so giving. And if we know about a cause and we have the opportunity, we're going to do something. We're going to give something. We're going to make an extra hat. We're going to make some mittens. We're going to adopt a kid's classroom and outfit them. We're going to do things if we know that's an opportunity or an option. You know, part of it is we might not know where we can donate or give or things like that, but hearing other people's ideas, reading the comments down below, that really gets those juices flowing and really that giving spirit and everything. And I like doing things like that because it really uplifts other people and shows them that somebody cares and they're worth it. And I like that. That's just how I am. I've always been that way. My mom used to talk about that. I used to make things 10 and 11 years old. I would crochet things every year and give them to my classmates at Christmas time. I would crochet little stockings that are this big. I might have some that I made decades ago that I'll have to bring out and show you what I used to do. And that was just something that I did. And at Easter time, I would crochet like a little tiny basket like that and then put grass in it and stuff and give those to my classmates. I mean, that's just how I've always been. And I like being able to share that with everybody here and encouraging you to do your part. Not like do your part like that, but I mean, do a part. Something. Kind of think outside of the box and just do something to make somebody smile. That's all. Just make somebody smile. That's it. All right, everybody. You have a great day, night, evening, whatever it happens to be. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.